Today's headline is Fast Women in the Black Hills. The subheadline says, Pen pictures of some of them. This article originally came from the St. Paul Pioneer Press, reported from Central City, Black Hills, Dakota Territory, on January 4th. It says, a mining camp is made up of all classes of people and of all nationalities. Among those in the hills that are preeminently original is Calamity Jane, or Martha Cannery. Born in the midst of a wild whirlwind of dissolute life, thrown when a mere child upon the cold world for sustenance, uneducated, uncared for, with a mother incapacitated to love her, father dead, surrounded with sadness, Jane grew up among the rough and tumble of the world, and is today what delicate society would nominate a strong-minded woman. She is about 22 years old, has a dark complexion, high cheekbones, an awkward walk, receding brow, black hair, rather pleasant eye, but when in passion, emitting a greenish glare. Her movements are all free and unstudied, yet in no sense unbecoming. Her conversation is animated, her language good, and her heart warm and generous. She imitates no one, is an original in herself, despises hypocrisy, and is easily melted to tears. She is generous, forgiving, kind-hearted, sociable, and yet when aroused, has all the daring and courage of the lion or the devil himself. She has been long in the hills, has been a scout in the army, dressed in soldier's clothes, traveled all over, scaled the mountains, rode horseback, fought Indians, and is now dancing in a hurdy-gurdy house in Deadwood for a living. When dressed in her own garments, she looks comely. When equipped as a man, she has all the characteristics of the sterner sex, with her pistols, bowie knives, and other weapons of death. Monteverde is a woman about 25 years old. She is probably the most gifted female in the hills, has a somewhat large figure, dark hair, dark eyes, is a most excellent dancer and singer, has a quiet, unostentatious way, yet fully possessed. On the stage, in the role of a comic dancer or songstress, she is greatly admired. In her original play of The Outcast, which contains, I understand, only points in her own life, she is an excellent tragedian, and never fails to draw tears from her admirers. When she first arrived in the hills, she was carried on a board, standing up on it, through the streets of Deadwood, borne on the shoulders of 4 men. She deals 21, sings, dances, plays excellently, and yet mingles in the rough crowd of the gambling saloon, and appears enchanted with her surroundings. And yet I am quite confident she longs for a higher and a better life, which she could adorn with honor to herself and her sex. Nellie, in Central, is one of the women in the hills. No female attracts so much notice as Nellie. Of course she is a gambler, and that here is not derogatory to one's character. In the ordinary proprieties of everyday life, you see nothing to find fault with. But when seated at the gaming table, surrounded by the rough miners, Nellie looks her best and her worst. Best by comparison, worst by her company. Not that her companions are bad, but the place, the scene, the game. But then this is a free country. Nellie is 21, has a very interesting face, a sparkling eye, a charming way with her. Her movements are graceful, yet she loves the cards. Kitty Leroy, who was killed by her husband only a short time ago, who then killed himself, was of a small figure and had previously been noted as a jig dancer. She had a large Roman nose, cold gray eyes, a low, cunning forehead, and was inordinately fond of money. I saw her in her mint, which was opposite my office, where men congregated to spend their money. And as Kitty was a good player, like the old gravedigger, she gathered them in, that is, their money. Men are in a general sense fools. A small tress of golden hair, a bright eye, or a soft voice will precipitate them into the ocean of folly. And women of the world, and some out of the world, know this fact and play upon the weak strings of men's hearts until all is gone, money, character, and even life. Kitty had seen much of human nature, entering upon her wild career at the early age of 10. She was married 3 times and died at 28. A polite and intelligent German met her. He was doing well with his gold claim. She knew it. Like the spider, she spun her delicate web about him until he poured into her lap $8,000 in gold. And then when his claim would yield no more, she beat him over the head with a bottle and drove him from her door. One and another she married, and then when their money was gone, discarded them in rapid succession. Yet there was something peculiarly magnetic about Kitty. Men did love her, and there are men living today who love her memory. Well, she's gone. I saw her only a short time since, lying dead by the body of her inanimate husband, with whom she would not live, but with whom she was obliged to pass quietly to the grave. Charles Utter has been a noted scout on the frontier for many years. He is a singular looking being, small in stature, with duck legs, thick set body, long hair, which falls down over his shoulders, a mustache and goatee, strong features, a mild, pleasant eye, and his head capped by a broad brimmed hat. There is no braggadocio in Utter. He has murdered no part, but has killed and hunted Indians. Never drinks, but smokes constantly. When out of his particular line of business, he deals 21, and of course has his Jenny with him, who is as mild and pleasant a woman as Charlie is a man. Utter is a very modest man, hence newspaper correspondents don't write him up. Otherwise he would and ought to be famous among the scouts of the plains. Aunt Sally is a large black woman, almost as broad as she is long, now living in Crook City. She went out in Custer's first expedition and was with him when he first entered the hills. She is a walking encyclopedia of matters and facts connected with this country, and presents a very animated appearance when she rolls up her great wide eyes, shows her beautiful teeth, and exclaims with earnestness and animation, "I's the first white woman as ever entered the hills." Of course it would be impolite in the presence of a lady to deny the soft impeachment, so I simply accepted the statement as in every sense true. This story came from the great state of Indiana, being reported in the Saturday Evening Mail of February 2nd, 1878. Thank you for joining us today. If you want to continue to uncover all of America's lost and forgotten history, then remember before you leave to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and remember to like and comment below. And we will see you next time on Americana Archives.